Alright, let's see how 10 cents does right here if we're gonna break under it again. It seems like there was a pretty big wall at VWAP and it wasn't gonna pierce through it, but it can try to do it later. It looks like we are. I guess we're transitioning from 10 cents to single digits cent prices, but we still have people supporting the bid. I was in this for a morning panic bounce play, not very conventional, a bit of a different one because this one had like a bit of a gap down the other day. It closed at 11.3 and you can see we opened at 10.7, so it already had a gap. I didn't like this price action and had here. It was pretty sketchy looking. I didn't necessarily like it, but when we broke through, and we had this big volume, I thought it might be possible that we might break under 10 cents just briefly and then it will come back immediately. And that's kind of like what we had here upset. Let's see if it can break VWAP now. It looks like it's going to trade off of this 10-cent range even though it got slightly below it at some points. There's a big seller at the ask, but he might get taken out. $10.3. Nice. All right. 10.3. That's the first time this is at the bid in this 10.20 level. Yeah, this one was a bit of a different morning panic bounce, but this is nice. It's doing it. That's a really nice uptrend. If I still had shares, I'd be selling in the 10.3, even though this thing can go even higher. It might even try to, do something a lot nicer, but I'd be very happy selling right there in the 10.35 level. Just that, it broke through VWAP, but, it can still do more. It would just, be nice and stress-free to just sell into that 10.35 level when it was there. So I was in at 9.35, which was this candle right here, with that idea that it might break under 10 cents as it did here, and it might briefly be under this 10-cent level, but then it will come back. And that pretty much was the case at 10, not 10, 9.35. I was in at 9.95. So right here was my entry. Right here. I didn't get like the very bottom at 97 or something, but when I got in, it was a bit more of a confirmation that, it just had a dip here and it's going to start coming back because it just briefly broke under 10, created max panic, whatever, and now it's trying to make a move towards the upside. And I did trade this the best that I could. I don't know if 5,000 shares was even a decent, size. I'm going to find out what 5,000 shares was, but, a bit weird when stock transitions from, at least the way I calculate my size, from a 10-cent stock to a single digit stock. So I did sell 2,500 shares, half my position at 936, which was at 1018 right here. And I was very interested in selling at this point because it was at VWAP. And I've seen this, it trades a range at or near VWAP and then it could break above it, or sometimes it can fail. Like yesterday was unsuccessful. It was not able to break past VWAP. I guess you can say it briefly did there, but it didn't do anything like absolutely nice. Like it is right here. This is much nicer. And yeah, so I had that, and then I saw the other 2,500 shares at 938. I gave it some more time, and I saw that at 1016 right here. The only thing I could have done differently is that the reason why I sold the last 2,500 shares is that I was too busy focused on VWAP. So then when it started to look like it was going to fail VWAP, I was interested in getting out, but I should have probably have considered 10 cents as the range that it's playing off of. So the idea is that it does a morning panic, it bounces, it's trading around VWAP, and then it might break through VWAP like it's doing here. But the thing that I did was that I saw the drop and then it's trained around VWAP. So then when it wasn't able to break past VWAP, I was kind of anxious. I should have realized that, the range for this particular morning panic bounce play is, right here at this 10 cent level, although it breaks under it just a little bit and enters into the 9 cent level. And then it eventually broke past it, and I would have been happy selling my other 2,500 shares at 10.35. And yeah, this thing can't continue to do something. That's fine, but that's what would have been my trade. And I did see this one. This one was just a quick turnaround, and I don't like it because it's not very decent in terms of volume. And I also don't like how this one was only up 2 days in a row. I wanted it to be at least 3. This one didn't offer a morning panic bounce play. I didn't even look at it. It has a nice daily chart, but the volume isn't there. This one could be a morning panic bounce play. I'll make an update later. I'll be looking at HMBL. Alright, it is 9:50. I did try HMBL. This one was a bit sketchy because it's not like ILUS. It doesn't seem to do morning panic bounce plays as well. And this one is absolutely dead when you look at a daily chart. So I had that in mind. And I was only going to trade 1,000 shares, and I was interested in it at first. So, it was downtrending. It broke a trend line right here that you can draw very easily. And it was consolidating here. My idea was that, because there seems like there was a lot of people dumping their shares at the bid, still some people with size at the ask, that it would break under this 14.3 level just briefly, cause like a small panic and get some volume out of the way. People who are, trying to be greedy with their selling, and then when it breaks a certain level, it might scare them or whatever. Maybe this is just market maker, fiasco, but the idea was that it would break this trend, this little level right here, and then cause a bit of a panic, some volume out to kind of just wipe out all the toxicity out of it. And then the idea was that if it could hold this level right here at 14.2, I'd be in. And then ideally that could, now make a nice move towards the upside after it got rid of some people. But that didn't necessarily happen. This one just looked strong. Like the level 2 started to stack very nicely on the bid versus the ask, which was the top of the range. So when I saw that price action, I did place an order to buy 1,000 shares, and I got a partial fill. I only had 300 shares at 9.48. Right here, 9.48, and I was in at 14.41, so 14.41 at 9.48. Right here, I was in right here, right before it did the breakout, because I saw the breakout was trying to happen. And I've been in situations like this before where it just kind of pops and the level 2 just lifts up and it's all sketchy looking, and it's already made a quite a distance towards VWAP. So I decided to sell the rest of my shares at 14.5, which actually was just barely above what my entry was. The thing was that it had a spread of 14.5 by 14.75, I believe. So I just sold it at the bid. I've seen that price action before, and this one just completely sold all the way back down to the level, and then it broke under this range. So maybe it can try to turn around now, but there are still people dumping their shares at the bid. You can see all of this size right here. And there's also still people at the ask with a lot of size, and that's not a big surprise when you look at a daily chart. So that's it for that one. I don't know how much I made there. And as for ILUS, I think I made like 11 bucks. I want to see how much size I had, but this is nice. It got all the way to 10.9, and my best sell was at 10.18 right here. So clearly quite a difference. This one really worked out. Kind of awkward and weird, but it still was a pattern I was familiar with. Again, the only thing I could have done better was realize that, okay, maybe it's not breaking past VWAP right now, but that doesn't mean I should sell because it's trying to hold this 10 level that it was forming. Right here, this was the range. If it were to have broken 10, I would have gotten out and I would have been salty, because then, I might have been, in a situation where I sell for less than what I bought it for. But that was the range it was holding. It just was a bit wide. It broke past VWAP. I would have been very happy selling at 10.35, even though I got all the way here. You know, that's not something I'm really ready to try to tackle. They don't always, you know, work that nicely, but this one was a great example of one that did. So yeah, and when I was in at 9.35, I would have cut the trade if it were to have broken 9.75, because then I might just continue to make another leg down. That's all I have for right now. I don't see anything else that I'm really interested in trading. That's crazy. I feel sorry for whoever threw in a market order and got wrecked there. That's all I have for right now. Okay, I want to record this one. I didn't really I didn't get filled and it didn't really work out. I don't know if I would have been able to have been a part of this, but the idea with UCPA was that it's uptrending. Second green day was nice yesterday. Today it might be down a little, but maybe because you know it had this downtrend. It's down like 20%. It had this bottom here, then a slight higher low, then a slight higher low right here. There was a 400k seller, and I guess he had some hidden size, or maybe actually that was about it. A 400k seller at the ask, and it was like 195 by like 194, or maybe it was like the same thing and it was just locked in level 2. I'm not extremely sure, but I was switching the chart from one screen to this screen, and I only have two screens, and in the meantime somebody bought up that person. I don't know if I would have even have been able to have been a part of this even if I wasn't changing you know, the chart, moving the chart here. And so yeah, it kind of uptrended. It broke past this 195 level, and then it got to the 20s, or I guess the 2 cent level if you want to be specific. And you know, now it's just having a level 2 war, and it doesn't have the best volume. It could uptrend and maybe make a move, maybe right below VWAP at 20, or I guess, you know, 2 and 1 cent, whatever you call it. But I just was not able to get in this one because once it broke this 195%, it just had this immediate jump, and at that point I was less interested in it. I was trying to get in 2,500 shares, not much, just because of the fact this one trades with a spread at times and the volume isn't the best, so I had that in mind. But maybe this one can do something nice, and I'm just not a part of it. I'm not gonna chase it either, but I want to see what this one can do eventually. As for the other ones, ILUS, I was slightly interested in it when it was holding VWAP, but I didn't see it when it was doing it here. In theory, it went from the 10.3s to the 10.5s, a sell in the 10.4, so I didn't offer the best range, but I'll continue to watch this one for any potential setups. But at this point, I trade a much smaller size because it's not, you know, an ideal morning panic bounce play. As for HMBL, this one was just sketchy. I'm glad I got out when I did right here at 14.5, even though at the time it looked kind of dumb. I just saw this quick spike, quick level 2 lift, and I just thought this is not really sustainable. And then it had, I guess, somebody who got wrecked on a market order. Eventually it broke under 14, and yeah, I have no interest in trading it. So yeah, that's about all I have for right now. Alright, I just want to report this. It's 11:55 a.m. and I was interested in CETI for some kind of a dip towards VWAP, and I've been watching it somewhat closely after it got to around this level, and I did try 2 orders. I just really didn't get filled, and this thing can do it without me. It might be possible that I'm not getting filled just because I have such a puny amount of shares and this thing doesn't necessarily trade that nicely. I think it has like a very low float or something like that. But I did try at 11.47 right here. 11.47 when it looks like it was trying to do some kind of a turnaround. And I did have an order at 150, and that was between the bid and the ask. I didn't get executed. It sat for a few minutes and then I got out. And then I tried again at 53, 11.53, right before this uptrend right here, and I just didn't get filled either. So I mean, I understand it's just 10 shares, but you know, that could have been why I didn't get filled. But I want to see if this thing can work, and I didn't want to put any, you know, serious money in it. I just want to learn from the trading experience. But this thing could just be a 1 day, you know, fader, like, just up one day, but you can see how it, at one point, it had an uptrend and it lasted for more than a single day. So that's kind of nice to look at. Um, I've seen worse charts. This one isn't too horrible, so maybe it can try to hold VWAP and maybe make a move towards the upside. Best case scenario, it tries to break this 185 level later in the day, and it just offered a nice dip here, but I wasn't able to get filled. But let's see if it can happen. And when I placed my order here at 149, it was above the ask at 148. I just didn't get filled. So it could be the stock, it could be the price action, it could be because I just didn't have that many shares in my order. We'll see what this one can do, but if I had to guess, this thing can uptrend, and if it doesn't work, I would cut it if it breaks under this 140 level. Although it's been some time, maybe I'd consider getting out if it were to have broken under 147, but definitely under 140 initially. So we'll see what this one can do over time. I did have an interest right here at buying it, 149. So let's see if it can do something, whether I'm in the setup or not. All right, it is 3:49. I was gonna do the recording later in the day, but I just wanted to show somebody dumped so many shares on ILUS that the price literally went from this 13-cent level all the way to 9 cents. This was an incredible, just freaking drop. I have no idea what that is. In fact, I'm watching if maybe this is going to scare everybody who might be potentially in this ILUS and, are going to start considering getting out because of how scary that was. But this might have also wiped out a whole bunch of stop losses. Maybe not. Maybe it was just a quick drop from just one person, but I'm just curious. I want to see exactly how much money that was, right? How many zeros is that? That's like 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh gosh, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 figures. So somebody dropped $1 million in ILUS, just sold all their shares, I guess. I don't know. That was crazy. Okay, well, I had one more trade with ILUS and I did not trade it accordingly. Maybe I did, but I was just thrown off with it. This is nice in that it had so much volume today, right? Nice green day. I was never a part of this. If I were to have seen it, maybe I would have been in, and then, that would have been super nice. I probably would have drawn a trend line. Maybe something off of here, off of these, right? And then I'd probably be selling it around here. No way would I have continued to hold this thing, but, this thing just made a nice move towards the upside, a nice high day breakout. I don't know, if I were to have been there, maybe I would have, had a trade there if I were to have hesitated and missed out, because it's not really an ideal setup. High day breakouts, I like, buying things at its lows, at dips, not necessarily at its highs. This would have been nice, but if I were to have hesitated, I would have missed out the entire move here. This was nice. So my idea was this: okay, ILUS had a drop, sure, but it came all the way back, finished green on the day. This is awesome. People are going to be, oh, ILUS is coming back. It's coming back. Nice volume too. It's coming back, right? And now people on YouTube, Twitters, the promoters are going to start talking about some new acquisition, deal or update, whatever. It doesn't matter, right? And then it can continue the uptrend, So I was thinking of buying, and I only was going to buy 100 shares. I started with 1,000, but then I thought, it can be so risky trading some of these things. Just so risky trading them. Just absolutely, sketchy trading them. And holding them overnight. I just don't have the confidence for that. It's not even the setup. It's just me. Most of it, just me just being just scared of it. But I thought, all right, let me just, ideally, sure, okay, I saw this drop and then it turned around. This would have been the more ideal point to be in at 12.97-ish or 13, because it's the first high or low off of the first, bottom here that, held and uptrended. So it would have been ideal to have been in here. And At 9.39, I was in just a puny 100 shares. Just wanted to get trading experience, not necessarily trying to make money. Just want to, just practice a setup that's out of my realm. So I was in at 13.35, and that was right here. Immediately, just big green candle, like crazy price action, and I just sold immediately at 13.6. I wanted it to have been maybe gradual or just consolidate, or maybe even downtrend slowly. But the way it just shot up like that just made me feel like, all right, maybe I'm like in the overextended part of this. So I sold again the next minute at 340, which was right here in this candle. It was literally looking like the high a day candle, and I sold at 13.6. It sold off immediately, and now it's consolidating. So I want to see what this one can do tomorrow. That was impressive, that big sell right there. Somebody dropped $1 million in ILUS. I don't think they bought. They might have sold, but maybe they bought. I'll make one more update when the market closes just a few minutes later, but that was another trade there with ILUS. I did not hold on to it. I want to see what it can do tomorrow. Alright, it is 6:47 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, I had, I believe, 3 trades and I made $11.52. Two things that I've been really trying to get better at. Number one is being sized appropriately. This was, I guess, maybe not the best example of a morning panic bounce play today with ILUS, but it still could have been one that I could have traded a $15 or a $20 risk level. And that would have meant that I would have made more money in this case, but of course, it didn't have to work out then and there, and I would have lost. But this is something that tends to happen more often than not, a nice successful move. And again, this was the range that it was holding near VWAP. I would have liked it if it was closer, but I need to do that thing where if it uptrends right, I'll sell half at VWAP or near VWAP, and then whatever the range it makes, if it breaks below it, I get the rest out. If it breaks above VWAP, I will be out the other half. I can do that. Totally missed, again, this breakout here, which was nice. And in theory, I could have been in. Again, I was, in at 13.35. I'd be up a penny, almost a penny, just holding it. And yeah, just like I thought, all the promoters, all the people are out there, talking about how amazing ILUS is and how it's going to turn around. This could do a nice morning spike tomorrow, so I'll be watching it. If I can see something nice, if it looks like it's not going to have a panic, maybe I'll even be interested in a morning spike and see how it can go from there. That would be super ideal, and that would, mean that it can uptrend more, and then that will give that even more range on the way down to trade for morning panic bounce plays. That's how I'm going to look at this. I did trade once with HMBL. This one was just kind of weird. Basically a scratch. And yeah, that was really about it. Maybe I could have considered that move with UPCA. I'm not sure where it was anymore. Let me just look at my verified cancel. It was right here at 10.10. Okay, so yeah, right here when it was at 195. It did make a move from that 195 level to, I guess it went to 22 on the ask, so that would have been pretty nice. Yeah, I mean, I could have taken a buy when the ask was there at 195 and they had 400k shares. I could have tried hitting it and then hoped that it wouldn't break the day low. Maybe I could have done that. Just a lot of learning. I definitely want to see what ILUS can do tomorrow. Just trying to get better at patterns that is outside of the regular morning panic bounce plays that I trade. I need to sell better. I need to have more size if it's a more ideal setup. And I just need to continue trying with the rest of the setups that are different. That's it for today. Not too bad, but definitely I see a bunch of things I could do better.